I never get a chance to read this because I try to do it seasonally, but this is my poem for Lent. I actually wrote this in Lent of 2002. At the time I was living in the Catholic worker house in Tacoma, because they let you live there even if you're an agnostic. And actually I used to, Father Bix, who sort of ran the place, would occasionally do liturgy for Tuesday nights, where they had the homeless come in and have liturgy and a meal. And he would always read that part of the Bible about, you know, Jesus and the sheep and the lamb, and the sheep and the goats. You know, the sheep were at his right hand and the goats were at his left hand, and the goats would all go to hell. And afterwards I would say, Bix, you know, what did Jesus have against goats? You know, cute little baby goats like you see on the internet. You know, what was up with that? Anyhow, so here's my Lent poem. The withered fig tree. And they drew nigh unto Jerusalem through Bethany and the Mount of Olives, hot, tired, and dusty. And verily, Jesus was in a pissy mood. Thinking to himself, Christ, we sure waste a hell of a lot of time walking around in this damn desert. And so he said unto the disciples, Go your way into the village over against you, and as soon as ye be entered into it, ye shall find a colt tied, whereupon never man sat. Loose him and bring him. And Peter said, Gee, if he's tied up, like maybe he belongs to someone. And Jesus said, Shut up and bring the frigging horse. So the colt was brought, and there was much rejoicing. And riding along, he found he was hungry. And seeing a fig tree afar off having leaves, he came unto it. And when he came to it, unfortunately, he found nothing but leaves, because, frankly, it wasn't fig season yet. And Jesus said unto it, No man eat fruit of thee hereafter forever. After which they went to the temple to beat the living crap out of some moneylenders. And returning later that day, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots and withered away. And Peter, calling to remembrance, said unto him, Master, remind us again why we were cursing the tree. I mean, for instance, later on there might have been some hungry folks who could use it when, you know, it's actually fig season. And Jesus began to reply, Hey Jack, when I tell this mountain to jump into the sea, it doesn't go why, it goes, How high you want me to go, Lord? But saying this, Jesus realized that perhaps he had gone too far, and said unto them, Hey, I'm sorry guys, that was over the line. I guess maybe I'm having a bad hair day. Forgive me? And to break the ice, Stephen, the funny disciple, said, Bad hair day? Every day's a bad hair day. It's 33 AD for crying out loud. We're still shampooing with sand. And as they were laughing merrily at this jest, Judas chimed in. Hey, and after all, being God means always having to say you're sorry. Again, there was much merriment, although Jesus' laugh seemed a little less boisterous this time around. And reaching into his robe pocket, Jesus came unto a handful of shekels that he had accidentally dropped there from the tables of the moneylenders. And he said, How about we head back to town and buy a few goatskins of wine to go around? My treat. And thus it came to pass, they returned to Jerusalem that very evening.
Bravo!
All right, usually I drive here all the way from Tacoma, but today I decided to take the commuter bus, and so I wrote this spontaneous poem about the experience, and I almost never write spontaneous poems, but it was just something that came out. It's entitled, How I Feel If I Have to Run for a Bus, Even Like If It's Only 20 Yards, by David Fewster, age 60. Like fucking Dr. Zhivago. You know, at the end of the picture where Omar Sharif has a lot of white flour in his hair and mustache because he's supposed to be all old and shit? And you can tell he's old because he's all winded and clutching his ticker as he lurched down the interurban trolley like he might croak right there. because Omar Sharif is a fucking great actor. You can almost see him thinking, look at me, running for a trolley like a putz. Me, who used to travel by carriage or hansom, or whatever the hell they were called, to exquisite tea parties hosted by aristocratic women with beautiful copper samovars. I know that look, because it is my own story. And only Omar could have expressed it so well. Except that, unlike Omar, although I jump on the bus gasping for breath with a dangerously increased heartbeat and wondering if this is how it feels right before a stroke, I also worry if I went to the bathroom soon enough before I boarded, because my prostate and bladder are also shot. I saw no sign of this affliction on Omar's face. But that's okay, because this is how it ends for great poets, like me, and Mayakovsky, and Boris Pasternak, and Omar Sharif. And if I happen to catch a glimpse of her, or Lara, or Julie Christie, or the lost love of my life who permeates my dreams with the ineffable sadness, yet I still wish I would never wake. Out the window, will I have the strength to pull the cord at the next stop and dash backwards to throw myself at her feet one last time before my final collapse? Or would I say, uh-oh, if I get off now, my transfer would expire.